This video is for those of us that are looking to get mobility in the pelvic area, stability in the lumbar area, mobility in the upper thoracic area, and strength in the shoulders, or mobility, stability, mobility, and stability, especially for those of you that are golfers or tennis players. It's very important. Let's begin. You'll see that I've got blocks and I've got a tennis ball in a sock that we'll be using for the practice. If you don't have a tennis ball, if you have a soft ball that you can use, that will be helpful for our practice. We'll start standing. Place your right foot just in front of and cross over your left foot. Draw your right knee out. So as we bend one leg, that is an external rotation. The straight leg is internally rotating. Just as you bend the standing leg, you just draw the externally rotated leg a little bit deeper into the pose and strengthen the standing leg as you press in through the base of the big toe. And inhale, lift up. We'll do that a few more times. If your arms are in the way, you can take the hands in prayer pose and do the practice. Just draw it down. Keep your stability as you bend your knees and just draw down. So the standing leg is bearing most of the weight. The right leg now is just allowing you to just create, again, this external rotation on the leg that is forward of the left shin. You just continue the practice. You'll start to feel maybe in the pelvic area here, things start to open up, and you'll be getting a little bit more flexibility in the pelvic area. One more time, draw down and lift up. If you feel like that's so much of a balance issue for you, especially on the second side as we cross the left foot in front and to the side, so with the left knee bent and the right leg bearing most of the weight. If you'd like to hold on to a wall or a chair, if you feel like, oh, this is all about balance for me, don't let it be about balance. Let's just keep on working on getting some mobility in the pelvic area. And same thing, you're just drawing down and a lot of strength to the right leg as you draw down and lift up. You're bending the knee and coming up, and just a few more times. Bending the knee and lifting up. Just keep a nice steadiness. Again, you can take your hands in whatever position. Just allow you to keep the heart open. Keep a nice evenness to your breath. And as you're ready, you can release out of the pose. Another approach to that is, of course, to sit. And as you sit, you can just take your foot to the outer knee or even down to the floor. You can take your foot to the outer knee and press your hands right to the top of the thigh, not the knee. Take your hands to the top of the thigh and just draw down, and you'll still get a nice opening. I kind of like the standing version because that allows you to really activate the one leg. And the same thing on the other side. Just place the hands right above the top of the thigh there, right near the hip joint, and draw down and keep your foot very active as you're doing this. So two ways to do that. Both work. To externally rotate one leg, internally rotate the other. come to all fours position. In all fours position, reach your right leg straight back and tuck the toes under and just get a nice stretch here to the back side of the leg first. Release your knee down. Same thing, opposite side. Take your left foot back with your toes tucked under. Just bring your awareness to the leg. Release down. Now reach your right leg back again, just like you did. This time, lift it off the mat so it's in the air. Lift your left arm in the air. So you want to keep this profile where the upper left arm lines up with your ear. Now bend your elbow, bend your knee, and draw each in to kiss one another, elbow to knee. Reach out, spread your fingers and your toes. Hug in. Tap the elbow to the knee or close by and reach out. 3 more. Hug in, reach out, and hug in. We're working on that stability in the back. Reach out, hug in, and reach out, hug in, and reach out. Release down. If your wrists get a little tired here, give yourself a break and draw your pelvis back. Reach your arms forward. Just delight in your breath. Before coming up back to all fours position and step your left foot back. Lift your left foot off the earth. Reach your right arm forward. Again, very active. Toes and fingers, spread them. Bend your elbow. Bend your leg to draw your knee to your elbow. Reach out. Again, draw in to expand out. Draw in. Lengthen out. Hip flexion. Now extend. One more. Draw in to reach out. Release your hand down. Release your foot down. And once again, give your wrists a break as you draw your pelvis back. Keep your hands nice and wide apart. Relax your head. You're giving your ankles a nice stretch here, working your pelvis toward your heels. Come back now to all fours position. From all fours position, come to your forearms. Interlace your fingers. Make a sharp V there with your forearms. Have your elbows a little bit narrower than your shoulder blades and press into the forearms, even press where the wrist creases are. Make sure the wrist creases stay parallel here. Forearms parallel as you reach your right leg back. Reach your left leg back. Just hold yourself. Again, working on this nice strength of the spine. Draw your knees down. Lift your feet up. And draw your heart down. And lift your pelvis up. Work the strength of the shoulders by pressing the forearms down. Lifting the pelvis up. Getting a little bit more strength there through the core area. Those of you that can come to a plank position and hold that position. And as you're ready, you can lower down. To continue our back strengthening, release your hands and just reach them toward your feet. Lift your feet up again. On the in-breath, lift your heart. Exhale, soften. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, soften. One more. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, soften. Release your feet down and come up to a kneeling position. We'll now open the upper chest, this flexibility and mobility we're working on in the upper thoracic spine. It's an area that most of us are really tight in. So you have to spend a little time here. One option is to lie on the block. And as you lie on the block, you support the spine with the block. And you get the block right between the shoulders, and your head can have as its pillow another block. I've got my feet together in this pose. It's called Sutta Bhatukanasana. And you just allow your breath to be very full here in this pose. And allow your breath to aid a nice openness in your pelvic area. If you don't have blocks, and you'd rather get a little massaging action to that upper thoracic area that's very tight for all of us. Grab your tennis ball, and there's several options. You can use the wall, take the tennis ball to either side of the spine, and just find those areas. You're pressing into the tennis ball around the upper thoracic area, right between the shoulders and slightly below the shoulder blades. You find that area and you're just pressing into it, just with your legs strong, pressing into the tennis ball. You find those little knotty areas, and that will help to release and create a little bit more flexibility to these muscles that keep our upper thoracic area so contracted. Just find that spot and stay there. And this part just helps to open the upper chest. So whichever practice you decided on, lying on the block or massaging the upper back, those of you that have a little more experience with this, if you'd like to lie on your back and do that same massage, it's a little bit more intense, but it still serves the purpose of allowing the muscles that can get very contracted in the thoracic spine to help you open up that area. Whichever of the three options you decide to do, it's important to stay there and just allow yourself to open up in that upper chest area. After a few moments, in whatever method you decide to use, let's come to a standing pose again. As you come to standing, step wide. Place your hands right at your hips. And in that same way that golfers swing, the back leg is internally rotating, the front leg externally rotates. The stance really helps you out in getting that flexibility to the pelvic area. Keep your back leg strong as you bend your front knee and just draw a little bit deeper into your pose. Inhale, lift your arms up for warrior number 2, virabhadrasana 2. Have this nice fullness in your chest. Strengthen your back leg to drop yourself a little bit deeper into the pose with your gaze out over your extended hand. Root down through the back foot to inhale. Lift yourself up out of the pose. Release your hands for a moment as you take your gaze to your feet and make sure that as your back foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat, the front foot points toward the front of the mat, and bend your knee and you look at the lineup of your feet, heel to back arch for most of us. Inhale, spread your wings. Take your gaze out over your extended fingers and just drop yourself deeper into the pose once you feel the stability of the back leg, the strength of the back leg. It allows you to just go a little bit deeper into the front leg. Root down to inhale, rise up, release your hands, come to the opposite side again, back foot parallel to the back edge, front foot pointing toward the front, and come to the same form of the pose. We'll do parsvakonasana or side angle pose. So come to the same form in the legs as you take your forearm down, turn the right palm up. Take the left head of the arm bone way back to open the chest nicely. Keep your back leg strong so you can drop a little bit deeper into the front leg before reaching your arms straight up, just to open your chest nicely. Keep that nice openness to the chest. And root down to lift yourself up out of the pose. Release your hands and let's come to the opposite side. So as you root down through the back leg and come to the form of the pose from the pelvis to your feet, you root down. Now reach your left arm to the top of the thigh. As you keep your back leg strong, drop your front thigh a little bit deeper into the pose. Take the head of your right arm bone back to take your gaze up. Reach your right arm up. Keep a nice fullness there. Root down to inhale and lift yourself up. Exhale, release your hands. We'll come once again to all fours position. You can heel toe your feet in toward each other. Come to all fours position. Place your left hand to your head. So your right hand is down and just lift your left elbow up and draw it down. Lift your left elbow up. We're working to get a little bit more flexibility in this upper thoracic area. You lift the elbow up and down and up and down and up and down. Release your hand down. Let's come to the opposite side. So take your right hand to your head and just lift the right shoulder up, right elbow up and down. Several pulsations here just to get a little bit more fluidity, certainly more flexibility in this area. 3 more cycles here at your own pace. You don't want to go really fast in this movement. This is a nice steadiness. Be sure to breathe. It's easy to forget when you're doing these things. And as you're ready, you can release your hand. Now take your left arm up and reach it toward the ceiling. From there, thread your hand underneath your right armpit and bring your head toward the floor. Some of us can take our head all the way to the floor. If your head doesn't go to the floor, you can always take your head to a block or something to elevate it just slightly so you're a little bit more comfortable. This continues this work of creating a little bit more upper thoracic flexibility. Have your right hand is kind of like a kickstand. Have the right hand active. Have the left straight arm active. So you're really pressing into the back of the straight arm. You're pressing into the fingertips of the right hand, that's the kickstand. And you're breathing into this position so fully to get that nice openness. Release yourself to come out of the pose. Now let's work the opposite side. So again, if you know that you need a block to set your head on, have that available to you. As you reach your right arm out, you open the chest nicely and thread your hand underneath your armpit. Press the fingertips down for the kickstand. As you draw the fingertips down, the wrist is right under the elbow. You're working both arms. It looks very passive, but you're really working the back of the straight arm to just get a little bit more mobility in the upper chest here. You're attending to your breath. Breathe in and breathe out long. Slowly draw yourself out of the pose to lie on your back. And just as we started in that kind of figure four pose, either standing or sitting, whichever one you decided to do, lie on your back. Take your right ankle to the outer left knee and take your hands to the top of the thigh. Just press the thigh back. With the hands, you're just helping to just open the pelvic area to create that flexibility in the hips that we need. So sometimes I even like pressing the block to that area. It just helps extend my arms so that I can really open up nicely. You want to keep both legs active as you're doing this, meaning press very firmly into the left leg, have the toes of the right foot just flowering, just spreading so fully. And release out of this pose by pressing the right foot down. Have your left foot just clear the ankle beyond the outer knee and take the hands not at the knee, but right at the top of the thigh. We often do a little bit deeper stretch and pull the thigh in, but for this practice, we'll just go easily into creating more flexibility in the pelvic area. Release yourself out of the pose and take your arms out in a T position with the palms facing up. Walk your feet so they're at least as wide apart as the mat is. Some of us can go a little bit wider. Draw your knees over to the right and place your right foot to the outer left knee, only if that is fine for your knee. You'll know right away if that doesn't work for you. So you can keep both feet on the floor or lift your right foot up. So you're giving yourself this nice length in the spine. And we're doing this external rotation again with the right leg internal with the left. And again, lift your knees up. Draw over to the opposite side. Again, your choice. Place the foot to the outer knee if possible, and just allow yourself a little bit of time in the pose here. Let your breath do its thing to just get this fullness to the right side. The side muscles get so much length. Lift your knees up, plant your feet. Now draw your knees over into a twist again with the inner edges of the knees together. Take your hands together as you draw the top hand, the left hand draws forward and reaches up, over, and back. Don't be concerned if your left shoulder is not down, but place your right hand to the outer left knee. Try to lift your bottom leg up. So you're just trying to support that nice action in the legs. The hand is pressing the knees down, but the bottom leg is really working to lift up slightly, and that really empowers the underside ribs to work a little bit more. Now release your right hand from the outer leg and lift your knees up. Take your knees to the opposite side. The knees are pretty much level with the hips here. Lift your right arm up and over to find a prayer position. Slide the hand forward. The upper hand is reaching way forward of the bottom hand. Reach your arm up and reach your arm over. Again, if the shoulder does not make it to the floor when the hand is on the floor, no worries. Have your left hand now to the outer right knee and activate your left leg. You're trying to lift it up just slightly to keep the action going on the legs, to keep everything very stable in your lumbar area as you start to open the upper thoracic area in the twist. Very slowly lift your knees up. And with your knees bent, take your hands to your low belly. Lift your belly into the palms of the hands. And now draw the navel back toward the floor. Lift your belly up into your hands. Just activate the breath. Nice full in breath here. Exhale. You're just moving the spine nicely. Just in case you overstretched on some of those twisting actions, just doing this cat-cow action on your back to get a nice balanced action. Now come to the center of those movements so that you have a nice curve in the low back before reaching your legs out and reaching your arms out to the side. And just pause here. With the hips very flexible from this movement, with the low back very stable and stronger, you can protect the low back area. Now, with a little bit more freedom and flexibility in the upper thoracic area, combined with strength of the shoulders and arms, you find a little bit more opening in the upper chest. Take your breath to expand the upper chest. And as you just kind of absorb the effects of the practice, kind of this afterglow that one gets after the practice. Just have a nice, steady, and even in breath and out breath. Soften your facial muscles and stay attuned to your breath. Please use this time to assimilate the actions, the flexibility in the hip, the stability in the low back, the flexibility in the upper thoracic area, and the stability and strength of the shoulders. Continue with this Shavasana, or if you must go on to the activities of your day, give yourself these moments of ease. Thank you for joining the practice. Namaste.